Hello, welcome to Human Tech, a podcast about the intersection between humans and technology. We have a very special episode today. With me, of course, is Susan. Hi.
You didn't introduce yourself.
I'm Guthrie. Hi.
Yes, and why is this a very special episode, Guthrie?
So this is going to be sort of a potpourri episode. I want to talk about audio artificial intelligence. That's going to be a fun topic. We have to talk about the elephant in the room, which is COVID, and just update everyone. Yeah. I was listening to a Bill Simmons podcast recently, and I'm behind. So we are recording this on April 17th. I don't know when that happened.
April 17th, 2020.
I feel like it was March 28th, about yesterday. So I'm not sure where 2 weeks went. That's a little scary. So we'll talk about the COVID stuff. But he does like a sports podcast, and he had his main guy Ryan Russillo on, and he's like, look, we're trying to strike the right balance, because obviously it's a serious situation, and it's obviously like the thing that's happening, and but also everyone's talking about it, and so we also want to be fun and be a distraction,
and not
just talk.
So
about
that's
it.
what we're gonna.
But you got to talk about it because it's such a huge deal.
Because it's there.
So we will.
Okay.
He kind of gave a disclaimer at the top of his show that I also want to give at the top of mine, which is we're gonna try and strike that balance.
Okay.
Between talking about COVID, but
we're
also
not going to
ignore
it.
Yeah, we're not going to ignore it, but also we're going to try to do some stuff that's fun too.
But you didn't say why this is such a special podcast.
No, I didn't. I was waiting for you to do that.
This is our 100th podcast episode.
Which is amazing.
Yeah. I don't even remember when we started, but anyway, this is number 100.
I can tell you when we started.
Oh. I mean, yeah.
We started in it was November of 2015.
Oh my goodness. We haven't been doing them that often, have we? That's terrible. I shouldn't have asked you that question.
No, you say that, but 100, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Now,
yeah.
It is a lot. It seems like a lot. In some ways, though, it went really fast.
It went really fast.
Like, I just can't believe there's really 100. But I know. But we number each of them.
we number
so we know that there's 100 because we put numbers on them. But.
So a couple, just a couple quick things. So it's a celebration for us.
Yay!
Especially because you guys who are listening, we don't have ads. We don't get supported in any way. We just do it just for fun and a little bit of publicity that comes with it. It's not entirely selfless, but so it's a lot harder to do 100 podcasts when you're taking time out of your day, out of your week. I mean, and then it's a block, it's a chunk. You have to make sure you're all ready and get the mics set up, and then afterwards, I gotta mix it and. Put our sounds together. It's not that much work,
but it is.
Export,
but it is
upload,
work.
Server.
And when you got other things going on that are grabbing your time and attention, then it doesn't always take first priority. But we like doing it.
So I'm gonna want to quiz you here about some of the episodes we've done.
Oh no! Oh God!
Okay.
This is. I might look bad. I don't like to look bad.
Well, you just have to guess. What the number of the episode is.
I'll never be able to guess that. Go ahead. I'll never be able to guess.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
When we did a podcast.
Yeah.
About chatbots.
Yes, it wasn't that long ago.
What number was that?
I'm gonna say that was like 89.
That was 80.
Oh, I wasn't that far off.
Okay.
There was 8 in the number. Okay.
What podcast? Remember our Stockholm podcast where we talked about all the different things that we saw in Stockholm, the different talks we saw at Business to Buttons?
Yeah.
What number was that?
Ooh. 65.
That was number 9.
What?
Yep.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's bad. I was way off on that.
Do you remember Damien Borba was on the podcast?
Damien from Adobe.
What number was Damien at?
Well, now I'm getting much less confident. 42.
49. No, you're doing great.
Oh.
How about let's see here. I'm trying to find one that's like a little more vague. We did one on forms.
Yes, one of my favorite topics.
What was forms?
Ooh. This is tough.
Yeah.
52.
53. Wow.
Oh.
So good.
Wow. All right, I have a question for you.
Sure.
Do you have a favorite episode?
No, they're all my children.
No, but does one episode like stand out as being especially memorable?
To be honest, actually the school episode, which was a 2-parter,
which was a long time ago.
28, yeah. It was a 2-parter. 25 was schools and 28 was schools part 2. I actually thought those were pretty good.
That's interesting.
And we got some good traction. I remember being proud about. Yeah, that was like that was a good podcast. Some of our guests have been really, really solid.
Yeah.
But just because they're really solid.
Some of our guests. So now our guests have to wonder which of them are the solid ones and which one we're like.
We have 100 podcasts. You said, what was like the best.
No. I understand. Yeah.
So that's, So, but I'm sure our audience has wildly different.
Okay, so I have a couple.
By the way, Brexit. We did a Brexit episode.
Yeah,
that was number 17.
I remember that one.
Head of the game on Brexit.
I remember that. We were together, I think, in a hotel room recording that because we were on the road for something. At least I remember being on the road.
Okay.
I have some requests of our listeners. First of all, I'd love to hear from them about, if they have a favorite or most memorable episode from.
All right.
I mean, I don't know if they've listened to all 100, but if any of you listening want to, send us an email at info@theteamw.com, we'd love to hear what you thought was the most interesting or most memorable or favorite or best topic or any best guest, anything like that. That would be wonderful. And then we tend to make this request at the end of the podcast, and I remember last time we were talking about why do we do it at the end when people have, they know it's the end and they stop listening. So I'm going to make the request now, which is if you have topics that you'd like us to cover on an episode, also email us at info@theteamw.com and let us know about that, because we'd love to know what you guys would like to hear about. I have a couple of other announcements.
Sure. Announce away.
I feel like this is like, you remember when you were at school and they came on the loudspeaker in the morning and made announcements?
Sure.
During homeroom? I feel like that's what we're doing.
All right.
Okay. So another announcement I have is that we just announced on all our social media stuff that the second edition of one of my books has gone to the publisher and is getting ready for printing. And that's
the big one.
The big one, the 100 Things Every Designer Needs to Know About People.
Yeah. Which
has been, really, of all the books I've written, I'll be honest, it is the most popular and best-selling one. And so we did a second edition of it, updating some of the research, just updating stuff.
It's a sprucing.
Yeah, it's not, and I announced that yesterday on LinkedIn, and people have been so wonderful and saying such kind things.
Oh, really?
Oh, I've been getting just it's like I didn't know.
An outpouring.
I have been getting an outpouring of,
Wow.
People saying, I love the book and so on. And a couple people have asked, okay, how different is it? Do I need to buy the new edition? Absolutely. No, I'm not going to say that. I will say that if you want the shiny new copy with the updated research and the updated examples, then you might want to buy the second edition.
Cool.
If you're going to what I've been telling people is if you're, because a lot of people, I'm so grateful, they recommend the book to others,
Yeah.
If you're going to recommend the book to others, yeah. Well, I think pretty soon you probably can't buy the first edition anyway. But so if if you read the first edition a while ago and you loved it, but it's just has pride of place on your shelf and you don't really need to look at it again, then my publisher will get mad at me for saying this, but I don't know that you need to run out and buy the second edition. But if you want the shiny new copy, a little bit different color on the cover, and the updates, then you might want to check it out. It is available for pre-order on all the various places that one
buys books.
So so that's kind of exciting that's done. And that's the end of my homeroom announcements. Do you have any homeroom announcements?
I have one quick announcement, and then we'll jump into COVID.
Okay. Which is not actually the total topic for this podcast.
It actually is related to COVID.
Okay, so we have a couple. But anyway, what's your announcement?
We had a lot of events, that
scheduled,
got
canceled.
And they all got canceled and postponed officially, but we don't know. I know some people out there were excited for us to come. We were going to come to Raleigh, North Carolina, and Hartford, Connecticut,
Minneapolis,
London, St. Louis, Milwaukee.
We had a lot
of stuff planned just for this quarter.
Keynotes.
And, of course, all canceled.
Yeah.
But I only bring it up to say we have not been idle. And we are recording a tremendous amount of online training and online content. So if you like our online courses, keep an eye out because there'll be a lot of stuff coming down the pipe very soon.
Speaking of updates, we updated our UX fundamentals.
That's true. Yeah, UX fundamentals.
That's new. We updated our conceptual model design course. That's new. And I'm sitting here looking at our new setup. So we have in our recording studio, we have a brand new camera, a brand new microphone, and new monitors. So we've updated content on these, but also the video and the audio.
And we have another whole certificate curriculum almost done, and then 2 others that are in development.
2 others in the works. Yeah. So that's what we've been.
Yeah, we have not been idle.
No, that's a lot of what we've been working on. So stay tuned, and we'll let you know when the online video courses, when the new stuff comes online. We keep doing podcasts. Okay, so we're done with announcements.
We're done with the announcements.
All right.
It's been a while since we've done a podcast, so hang with us there, everyone. We'll get to the fun stuff. Let's do the COVID talk. So it is again April 17th. We are here in the United States.
Guthrie, you are sheltering in place in Chicago.
Yeah, I'm sheltering in place in Chicago.
I'm sheltering in place in Wisconsin, where I live.
So part of the, I thought about doing some COVID podcasts, but I ended up not because things were changing so quickly. Even if you were right at the time, the way you would talk about it and the way you processed it and what might happen next, you listen to it in a week and it sounds silly and you sound naive or you sound
alarmist or something.
Like you're never gonna get it right. So it just kind of didn't make any sense. I would like to go on the record and say that I called all of this. My birthday was on January 27th.
Yeah.
Well before it was an outbreak.
Yeah.
And I have proof. I was telling everyone, guys, there's community spread in the United States in February, early February. It's like this train is leaving the station. Get ready.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can
supplies.
corroborate this because you and I were talking about it as part of
Yeah.
our, just daily conversation. And yes, you were very early. I was like moderately concerned. You were like, get ready, and then, to my credit, I started listening to you. So, and the result of that was I got toilet paper before everybody else realized they needed toilet paper. Yeah. No, seriously though, I did start thinking ahead and.
So it's definitely been a very surreal experience.
Yeah.
One of the I was just telling someone yesterday, one of the weirdest things is that like there are like bad things happening to kind of friends, family of friends that I'm close to.
Yeah.
Like very bad, sad things, and about COVID, but none of it really feels real because you're just in your house every day. So, like you don't, you're not seeing it face to face.
Yeah.
It's like anything outside your little bubble kind of doesn't exist. It's very strange.
It is we could probably do an episode on the psychology, right? I'm a psychologist, on the psychology of isolation or the psychology of COVID or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a really unusual time. I mean, so far as we're recording this, both you and I have been able to stay healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very grateful for that.
Yep. And it's the psychology of it is really fascinating because, so again, it's the 17th. I'm looking at the numbers for the 16th.
Of April.
It's like, there is sort of a feeling that we've hit the peak, that we've made it over the mountain.
Do you believe that?
Well, I'm just saying this is sort of the feeling in society as of today in the United States.
Yeah.
President Trump has been talking about reopening economies, stock market's up. People are kind of looking to, okay, what are the next steps? Like, all right, we've bent the curve. Congratulations. And yet today or yesterday, with the last day that statistics were in, it were the most COVID deaths of any day yet. So it's so weird because it's the worst it's ever been, and yet it kind of feels like things are going.
Yeah, it's like,
good.
It's the worst, so we must be almost done, right?
It is, So again, I don't want to, prognosticate about what the future holds. It's hard to tell if this will last a long time or what's going to happen. But I am glad that we had, at least in the first round, we have bent the curve in a very substantial way. So I'm here in Chicago. Our governor and mayor was very, very early in shutting everything down. I think people have been heeding, for the most part, the shelter in place pretty well. So things have not been too terrible here, as opposed to other urban cities like New York City. It's probably, that's probably Chicago's only comparison in the United States.
Right.
Though even New York is much more densely populated than Chicago. But
and I'm up here in rural Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Where you can go for a walk and be, 100 feet from a cow even. You don't even see people. So
that's right. But there is COVID up in Maryland County.
There's COVID up here, but we're just not very dense.
Easier to stay away from everyone.
It is easier. And I'm very the other thing that's nice about
you have a backyard.
Being up here is, it's easy to be outside. So, I can go for walks, no problem.
Very hard to be outside here.
Go out in my own backyard.
We went out and we tried to walk to the lake a couple weeks ago. And
you couldn't
there was just swarms of people around.
Yeah.
It was hard to walk around. So
so I'm really glad I can go outside. Although outside here on April 17th, I have a backyard full of snow.
It is also. I'm looking out the window right now. It is also snowing here.
That's unusual for you.
Yeah. It's actually a little. It's not as unusual as you think. So Chicago is right by Lake Michigan.
Yeah.
The
So
lake,
you get that
the
lake
lake
effect
is
snow.
no, we don't get lake effect.
Oh.
The weather comes in from the west. The lake is to the west of us, so you have to be on the other side.
No, I hate to
But-
tell you, the lake is to the east of you.
The lake is to the east of us. The weather comes from the west. Yeah, that one. Oh my god.
The other
Okay.
west.
The other west. So the point is that in the summer, the
Yeah.
lake warms up all summer,
Yeah.
and then when the cold weather hits, it's this warm heat sink that sort
Ah.
of keeps the city warm. And then in the spring, the lake is cold from the winter, and so the warm
Ah.
weather kind of comes in, but it kind of keeps the city cool until later summer than usual. So that's sort of the sort of how it works by the lake. And we are, especially for myself, who I moved. I'm now 4 blocks from Lake Michigan, so I'm very, very close.
You're very
to it.
close. Okay.
All right, so let's. Anything else? I mean, yeah, COVID, economics, people don't I'm trying to do like the entire podcast of what I would do in like 60 seconds. People don't are really bad with math. That's a section in my behavioral economics book.
People are very bad at predicting
They
the
don't.
mood.
They can't. People don't intrinsically inherit. If you have 2 apples and I give you 2 apples, you have 4 apples. You have twice as many apples. People can instinctually understand that kind of math.
Yeah.
Exponential growth.
Yeah.
Logically,
yeah.
people understand,
No.
but emotionally, they don't.
don't
It doesn't
understand.
feel as dramatic. And
Right.
the idea that we were in the United States, we were doubling every 3.5 days for a while, and now I think we're more of a 5.5 to even 7.5 to 10.5 doubling.
Yeah.
But at a 3.5 day clip, you have factors of 10x very fast,
Right.
and it's hard for people to
really wrap
intrinsically
their heads
understand.
around that.
Yeah,
But-
I'd be like, it's not that bad. We only have 1,000 cases. Okay,
Right.
well, at like a 3-day doubling in 2 weeks, you're gonna have, I don't even know what it is, 10,000, 20,000,
Right,
100.
right. It's not that you're going to have another,
2 week-
another 3,000.
Yeah, 10 days. 10 days is 10,000. 10 more days is 100,000. And all of a
Right.
sudden things get crazy. So.
Yeah, people aren't great with that.
Yeah. So yeah. So that's sort of the COVID update. I think
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about COVID?
No.
Stay inside. Stay safe, everyone. So yeah, but I thought we did have to.
You didn't want to ignore that it was.
I didn't want to
going on.
ignore it. I want to give kind of my perspective, and
Okay.
we're hoping for the best and preparing for not as good. So let's move on to a more fun topic.
Okay. What's that?
So I had a dream
Okay.
last night.
We're going to do dream interpretation now?
That actually, sure.
I was kidding, but okay.
So here was my dream.
All right. I'm ready.
I'm going to skip some of the different first part of the dream, which was a little more video gamey, where I had to there was a guy and I had to race him for a jewel, and I'm just going to skip that part.
Okay.
I am working at a sort of a shipping truck.
This is the dream.
Yeah, very advanced. This is not like a country truck stop. This is
Like a
big warehouse,
logistics
factories,
distribution kind
yes,
of thing. Okay.
yes, and trucks are coming in and they're getting
Yeah.
loaded with stuff and covered in plastic tarp to protect it from rain and
Okay.
that kind of advanced sort of logistical center. But it's so it's sort of an urban center, and so there are. We'll just say, this has been a reconverted old hub.
Okay.
All right. And there's a girl who I become friends with, and she wants to show me something. And so, you go, like, there's like a series of doors, and you sort of go deeper into the city. And like deep underground, she has found this trove that was made, we'll just say in sort of an alternate universe, alternate history. This trove of old recordings that was, I don't even know how to say. It's sort of like human beings, like in the 30s and 40s and 50s. Like it was like some sort of CIA government program.
You mean 1930s, 40s?
Yeah. Think of like that, when people had like a lot of time on their hands to do manual human work.
Okay.
And they recorded like all of human knowledge and human history and conversation, all this stuff
on like reel-to-reel tapes.
Reel-to-reel tapes, right? Exactly. And maybe in the future,
or phonographs.
It was not phonographs. Let's do on like the conversations of like every single person, but not just like mass data collection, but then like categorized and summarized, and sort of sorted in this way.
Cataloged.
Cataloged. And so it's this incredible data trove.
Okay.
And maybe we'll just say that it had been digitized at some point, blah blah blah. And so she had, she was working at the stop, but she like found this, the passageway to this old forgotten vault, and so she had taken a very regular open source AI protocol, and she had made her own very sophisticated AI, her own sophisticated deep learning program, but the program that she had done was completely based on audio sources only for information. And the result was a much richer, more vibrant, more human-like experience with this advanced AI program. So that was my dream.
Okay.
And it got, and I woke up and immediately realized, I think this might be a good idea.
So, I'm just gonna say right up front, I am not an expert on the technology behind AI. Okay.
And I would not consider myself an expert either.
Although you might know more than I know.
I have a sophomoric knowledge.
I have a freshmanic knowledge, like a freshman.
Sure.
I may have a middle schoolish knowledge, really, more accurately. So, so you're saying the implication of the dream was that the machine learning and the AI was being fed with this audio files.
Audio only.
Audio only recording. Now, how is it done most of the time? Not in your dream.
So if you think about it, most of the AI deep learning algorithms that are developed, I mean, a computer doesn't know what a sound wave is. It doesn't know that when I say the word bagel. No, but hold on. Bagel doesn't mean anything to it. So the way that, that like the Siris of the world, or the OK Googles of the world. Sorry everyone. I apologize for that. I didn't realize what I've done. Everyone's phone just buzzed. It's built on text, because it's built on what is the logical framework of language. So the first logical framework is there are sentence structures that can make sense to an algorithm. I want a bagel. You can sort of break down from the human speech to the writing to the abstract of what it is the request is. So I is the noun, want, right? This thing desire something. What does want mean? Okay, a bagel. Bagel being the object here, and you can draw the lines. And so then when you say that to your smart device, it can it can turn bagel. It knows that the algorithms can take that sound and turn it into the word bagel, right? So and it can look online. It knows what a bagel is, right? Because it so you're turning, what you're doing is it's a natural translator.
Right,
from
it's turning
the voice,
sound into
the sound to probably text,
text, and then
code text. Yeah, well, we would consider text a word, fragmentations. That then it analyzes and assembles into, okay, this is probably what it wants. And I'm sure the people who actually do this kind of stuff, I'm a little off base, or a lot off base. That's fine.
So you don't think right now, most of the time at least, it's just going from audio in without that text.
Well, if it
translation
could go audio in, it would be completely that would be like sentient AI. Like there's like that's the whole point, is that nothing like that exists today, because I don't know how it could.
Okay, so then what's your point?
So, when humans don't, I'll give you the phrase, I'll give you the argument, and they'll give you the counter argument.
Okay.
Humans, when they're children and they're learning how they're figuring out language, they're not using words in the way that they're written out.
Right.
They're using
true.
audio.
Right.
They're turning ba into da into sort of, they're putting together the building blocks of what are these sounds, but the sounds are directly related not to a word but to objects. So the counter is, what about people who are deaf? But I don't have enough experience there. I don't know if people who are if they're deaf and they're signing, if they sort of feel it in the same way that people who are hearing words sort of feel language as sort of a natural thing. So, I'll set that to the side because I just don't know. So that's a good mark against my argument. So the thought is what if you constrain your AI to only be able to use sound? The data set you're using is strictly audio based. You can't cheat. You can't have it look up things on the internet to learn what things are. The only way it can learn, and this is why it hasn't happened, because it's maybe impossible, but again, this is a dream, so we'll just assume that this is like, I'm trying to predict like the next sort of step in deep learning development. So what if the only data set it can use is audio, and maybe we'll throw in like visual cues too?
Right, I was going to say, what about audio and visual?
Right. So you're forcing the AI to learn the same way a baby learns.
Okay, well, I was going to bring this up because, the machines are not humans. And, the brain is the brain, and it works in its own very unusual ways. And machines don't necessarily work that way. So just because just because a particular form of learning is efficient in humans or efficient in children or efficient in babies does not mean that would be necessarily the most efficient way for a machine to learn.
Oh, it would be really inefficient. Terribly inefficient.
Then why would this be a good idea?
Well, the whole point is how can we move beyond, like, a lot of the deep learning results is very clunky. Like, it's very,
as are the
it
human
feels like you
learning
put something
results.
in and it goes through an algorithm and then it spits it out, which is exactly what it's doing. And so
It's a lot of trial and error.
no, I know, but like, but if you said like, you know, if you develop an AI to try and draw a horse, and you say, okay, draw a horse, you can like see it trying, and you can see it like looking at a billion pictures of a horse and then trying to kind of mimic the horse-like features, but like it's, there's no brain behind it. It's not thinking. It's just sort of randomly trying to spit out the result using a bajillion algorithms.
Right.
And that works pretty well, or really well, for some applications. But how do we take AI to the next step where it's actually sort of intelligent in some way, beyond just like Tesla's really good at seeing a stop sign. It can take it has the neural networks that it's using are really, really good at looking at a video feed and recognizing red stop sign in a, what the weirdo shape it's in. It's the word stop, and it's just good at recognizing that and knowing what a stop sign is. But you wouldn't expect it to have like a friendly conversation with you to be able to really understand what you want to do, like to get to predict behavior in a sophisticated way beyond just running an algorithm. So my big thought is that humans are so good. The reason humans are so good at predicting the behavior of other humans is because of language. If I start to say, if you're watching me and I'm starting to say something, if you know someone, you kind of know what they're going to say before they say it. The words are getting finished in your head before they're even finished in the other person's head. I think that's one of the reasons that we can do things so fast. So if you look at like a baby trying to learn language, a lot of mimicry and a lot of guessing.
Well, okay, so I happen to know something about this.
I know. This is why I brought it up. Because I thought we might actually be able to do a good job. Before you do, let me just say.
Yeah.
So again, the theory is that if you restrict the learning to only being able to use, we'll just say, instead of a trove of audio files, we'll just say it was a trove of video files of the person video of them talking, and show maybe with like talking about this is a horse and like showing what a horse is.
Yeah.
Learning the same way that like a baby learns. And if you only restrict it to just that, you're going to force the algorithms to have to make a lot of assumptions and to really sort of understand at a deeper level what's going on beyond, I guess sort of not. So right now you can sort of cheat and not, the computer doesn't know what a bagel is. It doesn't care what a bagel is because it's just putting together the context. I want a blank noun, look it up. Oh, online, the bagel says it's this thing, input picture bagel, right? You know what I'm saying? It's not, it has no concept of what a bagel is. So how can we go that next step and have it actually start to understand things? So, okay, go back to how babies learn.
Well, there's this great, there's this woman who is a professor at the University of Washington. That's the state of Washington, I believe, in the U.S. Her name is Patricia. I'm not going to pronounce it right. Patricia Kuhl, Kuhl, and she has this amazing TED Talk that I really recommend if you're interested at all in this whole idea of how do babies learn language? How do they make meaning out of sounds? How does that happen? She has this great TED Talk where she talks about her research with this, and she has these great video clips she uses in the talk with. There's these babies with this, their kind of machine is hovering above their head. It looks like a gigantic old-fashioned salon hairdryer, and it's actually doing scans of the brain while people are talking to the baby. And what she found with this is and I believe in the TED Talk she shows the scans. So and she talks about the kind of how this develops over time. At what point, and it's a couple of months old, the baby's brains start reacting to sound and speech differently, and they are doing. She says they're doing statistical sampling of sound. The brain starts to do statistical sampling of sound, and to start to recognize, first of all, that some sound is speech and other sound is just sound in the environment, and it starts reacting differently to speech. And then it starts reacting differently to speech in the language it's hearing most. So she shows how, if you take someone and if the baby's growing up in a family where they speak English, and then someone comes in the room and starts speaking English, the brain reacts in one way, and these babies are at this point maybe like 8 months old or something. And then if someone comes in the room and has the same interaction with the baby but is speaking in Chinese, and the baby has not been exposed to Chinese, the brain is reacting in a totally different way. So over time it starts to sample and pay attention to sounds that it recognizes. And it's just, to me, it was like just a fascinating look at how is it that we do learn language? How is it that we develop the capability of understanding what people are saying and then start speaking it? And she's done all other kinds of, interesting research on language. But
that's
so
cool.
I think it's an interesting idea of, could the machines start doing that kind of, sampling, right?
So let me give you an example.
Yeah.
Imagine it's the 1800s, and you get shipwrecked on an island, and there's the indigenous people of the island are there, and sort of the classic I don't know, the British novel from 1824 or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's the scene where you have to, they're learning each other's language, and but it's not in English and French. It's English and this sort of Asian something. It's very different.
Yeah.
Grammatically, all that kind of stuff. And so you start with hi, me, Guthrie, and so just in the same way that an AI starts really very, very similar. It's like these things, so when AI is doing when neural networks are for example learning image processing, you start with one of the things you can be is like how round is it? Because some things are rounder, some things are pointier. And to be able to distinguish the roundness of an object, so like an apple, right? It's probably a picture of an apple if it has certain colors, if it is roundish, right? If it has a lot of sharp lines, probably not an apple.
Yeah.
So just being able to distinguish, for example, that something is more round or something is more straight is one of the many, many, many attributes that these algorithms are sort of running, the one of the networks that's running.
Well, in that there's an exact corollary in brains that does the same thing.
Right, and I mean they didn't. Yeah, that's where all this stuff came from. It's not an accident that neural networks are set up to learn the way humans learn. They ideally it would be a software
I didn't think that neural
parallel.
networks were set up to learn the way humans learn.
We'll have to look at that. My original understanding of the original TED Talk from the lady who did the Google image search,
Yeah.
which is really the first good sort of publicly successful neural networking stuff, was that I'll just put it this way: it's not called neural networks for no reason. But I could totally be wrong. But that's sort of my understanding of things.
Yeah.
Is that they really are trying to make networks that work in sort of neural brains way. Anyways. The point is that so if you just start with hello, and like what is so like if I say hello versus I say get back, like just the think of hello if you can synesthesia it, okay, as a feeling.
Yeah.
Right. It's a combination of sounds. You start with the valley, you have the hello, there's like, you can create in much the same way that a deep learning algorithm would look at, I want a bagel, and can sort of deconstruct it as, right, sort of, okay, this is noun, verb, the arrows, they sort of cut the sort of the if-then statements of sort of how natural language is put together as a sort of a chart. Imagine if you could make a chart of that. That would make sense as sort of a software code language. You could have a neural network that, it just, again, neural networks can be infinitely sophisticated. Think of how exact Google image search is now. You want a black cat versus a gray cat versus a Maine Coon. Like, there are all these. It's very, very good at detecting those subtle differences. So you start with, okay, hello, being like that sort of shape. When do you say that?
What do you mean, when do you say that?
Okay, so we have this shape, hello, which is this auditory shape.
Yeah.
So it's one thing for the neural network, deep learning, is going to have to figure out when to say that. So think of like the Tesla, okay, in the car that's doing neural network stuff to self-drive. First it has to identify a stop sign, but then it has to do something with it. It has to. So there's an algorithm that says, okay, when this, so in context, when the stop sign is within 20 meters and you're driving at a certain, per hour amount, right? Then you just apply the brakes here. This is sort of, so it kind of goes through the neural network of like the best way to handle each sort of situation while you're driving.
Yeah.
So the hello is like a stop sign. This is an object I recognize. I recognize hello. This is an object that I'm familiar with. But then when to use it?
All right, now I have another question.
So that's
for you,
like the next step. So if you only did auditory learning only, you would have to sort of guess when to use the different sounds and the different hellos to communicate. And so you'd be learning communication the same way a baby learns communication, which is trial and error, and sort of you put blocks of different sound combinations together and you sort of mash that together, and that's how you start to form sentence structure.
All right, but I have another question.
Yeah.
What about the prosodic information? Because if I say, let's see, I'm trying to think of a machine learning.
What is prosodic information?
Oh, prosodic information is the emotional information that we convey in our speech by when we go up and when we go down. If I say
No, that's what I'm saying. So hello is
different
is
from
like,
hello.
yes, exactly.
Or
Like one's a black cat, one's a gray cat.
The example I use is, I can say, I can't wait to go to the store. Or I can say, I can't wait to go to the store. Or, I can say it with different intonation, and it gives a different meaning based on the way that I'm saying it.
And so, again, you have to remember neural networks can become, and again, this is in the future, infinitely complex. So there's no reason to say that it can't notice the fine nuances in the different stuff and see the different colors in it. So for example, one of the things that was really challenging for the early visual neural networks was cats with a piece of bread over their head.
Yes, but why would you have an image of a cat?
It was a funny thing people were doing a bunch of years ago, where you cut a hole in a piece of bread and you put it on your cat. And
okay. Can I say that people with cats sometimes do strange things?
Yes, I think that's very fair. Yeah. So it has to figure. So it knows what a generic picture of a cat is. It knows what bread is. What happens when you put bread on a cat? Is it bread? Is it cat? Is it bread and cat? Like, it has to figure that out. And we're basically there. I'm gonna give it a test. I'm just going to do a little.
How can you give it a test now?
I'm gonna go to Google. I'm gonna do cats with bread on their head.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go to the image search.
Uh-huh.
And it's nothing but cats with bread on their head. It's amazing.
You mean that Google knows what that is?
It knows what that is, and every single picture is perfect.
All right.
Like, it's not like half of them are right, half of them are wrong.
I'm typing this in just because I want to see what cats with bread on their head look like.
Image search.
That is so bad. No, they don't all have bread on their head. Well, one has a pizza around its neck. I think this is...
Is pizza bread?
I think this is... One is just a cat sleeping with nothing. One is a cat next to a loaf of bread. That's interesting. Some of these don't have anything to do with bread.
And you're in Google image search? Cats with bread on their head was what you searched?
Yes, exactly. Now, I do think that it looks like cat torture to me.
Hard to tell what cats like or don't like, I have to say.
A lot of them do not look like they're enjoying this.
That's kind of part of the fun. But, all right. So, the point is that if the algorithms can sort of suss out these sort of complex behaviors, I think it's not crazy to think that they can determine the difference between I'm having a great day and I'm having a great day.
Right, that's interesting.
So the big thought is, if you force the computers, the software, to only look at auditory and have to make guesses strictly based on an auditory way of doing things, I think you're going to get much more human-like way of seeing the world and feeling the world in a way that I don't think you can get if you just break it down into the simpler words and objects. Because it's all about the feel of the word and the color of the way it's said, and putting those little fun musical colors together in combinations. It's a lot more music and it's a lot less math. And the way when you break down sentence structure into just words, it's a lot more mathematic.
Okay, so now I have a question
Formulaic.
for you.
Yes.
What do we do with this?
Nothing. I just wanted to talk about it. I hope someone uses it and becomes
Now, I
a
had a
billionaire.
dream that had to do with dogs and jazz
I can't use
piano.
it. I don't
so
have capital.
Can we do anything with that?
Wait, with dogs playing piano?
No, there were dogs in it, and then someone was playing a jazz piano song.
You should take up painting and you should do a dogs playing piano. Like dogs playing poker, except they're playing piano.
Yeah, I don't think so. Well, Guthrie,
I-
I love, maybe someone out there does AI work, and they can
I think this is the way to unlock
point us to. I'm sure somebody's doing
human
work on this.
deep
don't you
learning,
think?
human feeling. With this is the secret, is doing it with auditory.
Don't you think somebody
information
must
to
be out
build.
there doing it?
No,
Oh,
I think it's
all right.
too hard.
If any of you listening know that someone is out there doing this, would you please let us know? We want to know. How's that?
Yeah, this is yeah. I think it's too hard, and why would you go to work on something that would be like too difficult? So, but yeah, we'll find out. So that was my big dream. This is my update. This is anything else you want to add on this very special episode?
No, I think it's I think your dream was interesting. If you have any other dreams that we can turn into episode 101 through 200, just let us know, Guthrie. And yeah, I'm just glad. It's been a while since we've recorded a podcast, so I'm glad that we did that. And I think I sent you a message this morning of the next podcast idea. So hopefully we'll do another one of these.
Oh, I didn't know if I saw that. Okay.
Oh, so hopefully
well,
we'll do
I
this really
hope
soon.
I hope everyone is staying safe out there.
Yeah.
I hope you're doing well. Hope hopefully we can get back to doing workshops and stuff at some point. But hopefully people who are listening to this found it entertaining, and that sort of made your day a little easier. That was my goal.
All right. Hey, Guthrie.
Yeah.
Stay safe.
Stay safe as well. I'll talk to you later.